Hi, today we are reading from Front Desk, Chapter 17. That starts on page 78. Chapter 17. My mom was hopping from one foot to the other in the front office when we got back from the lake. While we were gone, the cable stopped working, and that was a big problem, because free cable was a basic requirement of every motel. It was one of those things customers absolutely had to have. "You gotta do something! I'm missing Cheers!" Fred exclaimed. We picked up the phone and speed dialed Mr. Yao. Luckily, even Mr. Yao understood the urgency of the situation. This was not like the washing machine breaking down. People could live with dirty towels for a day or two, but they needed their TV. He immediately dispatched his cable repairman to the motel, a guy named Jose. Jose arrived at the motel half an hour later with a pickup truck full of tools and his daughter in tow. My jaw dropped to the ground when I saw who hopped out of the truck. It was Lupe. Lupe stood in the parking lot squinting at the front office and blocking the sun from her eyes with her hands. I waved to her and started running outside. Her hands flew to her mouth when she saw me. At first, neither of us said a word. We just stood awkwardly at the front desk as my parents cleaned and her dad fixed the cable up on the roof. I kept looking over at her, hoping she'd say something. Finally, when I couldn't stand it anymore, I cleared my throat. "I have to tell you something," I said. "What?" she asked. "I don't really have a golden retriever," I admitted. "I have to tell you something too," she said nervously. "What?" I said. "Me neither," she said. I smiled. It turned out just as I had been making everything up at school, so had Lupe. She didn't have a big house or 3 dogs, and although she did have a trampoline, it was one of those tiny ones, and there was no way you could do a flip on it. "I don't know why I said all those things," she said. "It just came out." "I don't know why I said all those things either," I said. The best part about Lupe and I coming clean was that she knew all about Mr. Yao and how terrible he was. She knew more than I did, in fact. She told me he had 4 motels in Los Angeles, 1 in San Diego, a couple in Nevada, and 1 on some island in Florida. That's why he's sometimes gone for weeks at a time, she explained. Her dad had been working for him for years, and he was just as rotten to him as he was to us. "So you know that Jason's his son?" I asked. "Of course I know that Jason's his son," Lupe said. "Didn't I tell you from day one that he was terrible?" I couldn't hardly contain it. My heart was swelled with excitement. Finally, I had someone to share all this with. "You know what, Lupe?" I asked. "I hope our cable breaks down every day so you can come over." "Me too," Lupe grinned. And that's the end of chapter 17.